Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Look Who's Next, a podcast for Black Talent TV. You guys know I am your host for the day, Simone Jackson. Always here to bring you guys another great episode of Look Who's Next. You guys know we are a podcast that have engaging conversation with influential guests in the entertainment industry. I am super excited for my next guest for today. I have been watching her for movies for a minute, and of course she stars in my favorite movies of all time, Barbershop. But she's here to talk with us here today. Everyone, can you guys give it up for the lovely and uber talented Miss Jaszmin Lewis. Hi, Jaszmin.
Hi.
How are you?
That was an awesome intro there.
Well, you know, I always like to spice up my intros for my guests. You know, I don't do the boring intros. I don't do that. That's not my style. I always like to spice it up. But it is true. I've been watching your movies for a while, and I'm really excited to be talking with you today.
Well, me too.
Awesome. So I'm going to start with the first question with you, Miss Jaszmin. You know, I am interested. When did this passion for acting begin for you?
You know, that's always a fun question for me to answer because it's kind of strange. It's definitely not the norm or the ordinary. Obviously, I started acting when I was really young with school plays and church plays, but it was never anything, you know, it was just something that I did. It was never a passion of mine at the time. I think I just liked to perform. But I was always a musician and a vocalist, and I started in the music industry long before I was acting professionally. I was on tour with several artists, you know, Prince and you know, Gladys Knight, and I'm from Ohio, so like the Ohio Players and Earth, Wind and Fire and all of them. So I was a bass player and a vocalist for many years with those groups, touring and things like that. And then electronic music came into play in the early 90s, and real musicians, I don't want to say real musicians, but musicians that played like instruments as opposed to computers or just keyboards, it was going away for a long time. And, you know, having gone to school, and my degree is in music, so I had never really had a 9-to-5 in my life, and I was like, well, now what am I going to do? Because this is not as interesting to me anymore to just do this kind of music. And so I decided to, you know, make a change. And I was like, what will I be? I'll be an actor. But those were the days that, you know, actors weren't musicians and musicians weren't actors. We didn't kind of cross over. But, you know how they say the old saying is ignorance is bliss? It was true for me. I didn't know you couldn't just say I'm going to become an actor and just be one. So I said it, and the next day I contacted a friend of mine who managed her son. I did his music, and she's managed his acting career. And she said, well, come on over if you want to be an actor and I'll manage you. And I was like, okay. The very next day she had me a meeting with an agent, a small agent, like one guy, one phone. And he said, I'll take you on. Yeah, he's that guy. So that's 2 days. He said, I'll take you on. I had no headshot. I had no resume. I had nothing. The day after that, I signed on with his agency. He had a meeting, or he had an audition for me for Martin. It was 1994, last season of Martin, and it was for one line. I went to the audition, I booked the job, and I kind of never stopped working after that.
Oh my goodness. First of all, I have to say and comment, the fact that you were a vocalist for the Gladys Knight, the fact you're in the presence of one of the queens. Oh my goodness. How did you not pass out? I would have passed out. I would actually said her name, then passed out. It's just, that was really too much for me. I would just be like, oh my goodness, it's Gladys Knight. Like, that is
amazing.
You know, that is such an interesting, you know, for especially for the Black Talent TV audience who didn't know about that specific background of yours. That is so interesting that you were, you know, vocalist for Gladys Knight, Prince, Prince. I mean, that is memories worth just, oh my goodness.
Well, I was his first female bass player. He never had a male bass player after that.
Oh, Jaszmin, I am serious. My crush is like growing. It's growing. You're amazing. Oh my God. That is awesome. I'm all about that. That is so cool. Oh my goodness. I am so glad you told me that. That is awesome. I did not know that. I didn't know that. That is amazing to know, though.
That's the short and sweet of it. It's kind of a strange intro into the business, but it was my way in. So
It
you
is, and
know.
like you said, it was at a time where musicians were actors. Actors, didn't do the musician thing. So that's
Yeah.
that's very interesting, and that really comes to play into my second question. What would you say is the most difficult aspect of acting? Since you were a musician, what would you say is the most difficult? Was that transition kind of difficult for you?
No, it was like I said, ignorance is bliss. It wasn't difficult at all because it happened so quickly. Within 3 days of essentially retiring from the music industry, I was working on a TV show that was the number one show at the time that I was on. So yeah, it wasn't a difficult transition. It's definitely not a story I like to tell new actors that are coming into the business now because it doesn't really happen that way. It didn't
Mm-hmm.
happen that way then normally either. Mine was just very much out of the norm. So, it makes it's an interesting story, but it's something that you don't really see much now. It's much more difficult now to get into the industry and be
Absolutely.
successful at it.
Absolutely, especially since now that social media has such a strong
Yeah.
play in whether or not an actor gets a role now. I've
Yes.
so many actors have said, for example, Game of Thrones actress Sophie Turner, she's actually said that she got a role just based off of her followers alone, and the other girl
Absolutely.
was a better actor than her. So it is.
Absolutely.
You're definitely right. The game has definitely changed since from 10, 15 years ago, since social media is such a huge.
That social media and reality TV changed
Ah,
the game for actors.
this
Absolutely.
is so true. So
Absolutely changed the game.
you
And
know,
not, and I don't like to down anyone's job or what they do, but
of
I
course.
don't think it changed it for the positive. It made it so that, just anybody can walk on a soundstage and start acting with people that have been studying the craft for many years and take it super serious. So it's difficult to see actors, amazing actors that I know, lose out to jobs with people because the person has a million followers and is in a bikini. Maybe I'm old school, but that doesn't sit well with me.
No, and you actually, your feelings are absolutely valid because, you know,
Yeah.
uh, you're right. Just because, let's just say I have a million followers and someone picks me for an acting role doesn't mean I can necessarily act just because I have a million followers. And they
Right.
don't want, and
And
then,
for those that can, more power to them.
yeah,
But for those that
absolutely. You
get
definitely
just
can more.
jump in and feel like that's enough, it's not enough anymore.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Jasmine, I'm really interested to know, as an actress, what type of roles do you gravitate to?
it's interesting because in the beginning of my career, I did so much television. I did a lot of sitcom television and some dramas too, but a lot of sitcom television. And I was approached to do a lot of movies, but at the time, this is 15 years ago, it was a lot of, I would say, the women that I was asked to play, there was a negative connotation on those women.
Mm-hmm.
They were either, prostitutes or it just wasn't what I was trying to do. I
Of
gravitate to
course.
strong women role models, things like that. I don't always get to just play those because, pickings are slim sometimes, but that's what I gravitate to, something that actually is going to make a difference and let me, keep riding that wave of being positive in the industry for a long time. So that's what I like to do. That's where my passion is.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I have to say, over the years, I'm really glad, slowly but surely, that Hollywood is embracing, many different dimensional roles for women, because,
Yes,
we were the sidekick, either the wife or
yeah,
the damsel in distress. We are now seeing a huge, huge change. And
yes. It's time.
yes, it
It's
is,
time.
and it's been a huge change. I love watching Kerry Washington in Scandal. Because
Absolutely.
she's everything. She's everything a female role should definitely be, and it's just I'm so glad that Hollywood is finally getting with this slowly but surely. We're
Well,
making
that's
some.
because of people like Shonda Rhimes, strong
Hmm.
women that are creating these female characters that are empowering to other people. It's
Absolutely.
people like her.
Absolutely, and Ava DuVernay as well. She has done a fabulous
Absolutely.
job,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
making these amazing roles. And And I just cannot wait to see what else these two women, especially with Shonda Rhimes, since she signed that huge Netflix deal. I cannot imagine the plethora of female characters she will bring us, with that.
Yes.
Just to go back to how I said in my early introduction, you were in the smash hit series Barbershop. You have the chance to work with the one and only Ice Cube. Super jealous. But I'm dying to know, how did you get involved with the series?
It was originally just going to be one movie, and then they made the mistake of creating the TV show after that. Didn't work, but and none of us were involved in the TV show. But the movie, how I got involved was just like any other actor. I went on an audition. I auditioned, and I'll never forget. I was not feeling great that day. It was pouring down raining. I had to drive 30, 40 miles, which in LA traffic, that's 2 hours. It was at night. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
It was pouring down raining, and I remember just like going, I have a lot of long hair. I remember just going, you know what? I don't even want to be here, so I'm going to twirl my hair up, stick it on top of my head because it's already wet now in the rain, and I'm going to run in this door where the audition was. I had my friend with me, and he was like, hey, let's go grab a bite to eat when you're done. I'll wait for you in the car. I said, no problem, because I really didn't force. Everyone wanted this character, this Jennifer Palmer, Ice Cube's wife character. Everyone was there. Way bigger names than mine at the time, and still. And I didn't really, I was prepared for the audition, but I really wasn't looking like, oh, I'm about to get this. Not at all. I wasn't thinking that at all. I run in to the audition, soaking wet, and realized that I entered the wrong door. And I didn't realize that till I was standing in the middle of the room where someone else with all the producers was auditioning. Interrupted that whole audition, looked like an idiot. I was like, I made some sort of crazy joke and sort of just slunk back out, found the waiting room, waited. Then they called me in, and I was like, I was just feeling really silly at that moment. I was like, sorry, that was not a great intro for myself. So, we laughed about it. I auditioned. I went on to have dinner with my friend and didn't think about it. I was actually at another audition 2 months later, and I got a call from my agent and said, hey, they want to see you for a meeting. And I said, who and for what? Because I'd completely forgotten about the audition. I hadn't heard anything in 2 months. And he was like, Bob Tyler and George Tillman, which were the producers at the time, and Ice Cube. And you're going to meet with Ice Cube. And I was like, oh, is that Barbershop thing? And he was like, yeah. So I was like, okay. I hang up the phone. It was going to be the next day. And I got really nervous because all I knew about Ice Cube was NWA. I'm like, he's some sort of gangster. I'm really scared of him. I'm not going. And I said it. I called my agent back. I said, nope, pass. I'm not going. He was like, yes, you are. It's a meeting. It's, with other people in the room. So you'll be fine. Go. So I went. And there were 2 other actors who even today, waiting for their meeting because it was only going to be 3 of us meeting with him. And I walked in. It wasn't a bunch of people. It was just him in a room. And we just sat down and talked. And he said, I loved what you did in the room, but I want to know your take on what you think their relationship should look like on camera. And I had no idea what he wanted me to say because that's all we do as actors. We try to figure out what casting directors and producers want to see and what to say the right thing. And because I didn't know what the right thing was to say, I decided to be super honest. And I said, I didn't really love the dialogue. I felt like she was overbearing. I see too many women pushing their Black husbands around, and it looks kind of ridiculous to me. I was like, why can't they be more of a team? Why can't this be a team effort? So I just said what I said. And we gave each other a hug, and I left. And 2 weeks later, I was on a plane to Chicago.
Wow!
To do the movie.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. And I remember him telling me when I got to Chicago that he loved that I didn't necessarily subscribe to what the script was, and he liked my version of what I thought their relationship should look like. And that's kind of what you saw on screen.
That is awesome! Yes, that is what I love to hear. I'm serious. That is what I love to hear. That is amazing. I'm so glad he was open like that. That is great, because you're right. There is too many, especially on TV. Anyway, I feel Black women pushing their Black husbands, like you said, being overbearing.
Yeah.
There's not much of a team effort. There's not much of a team effort like the Cosbys, where, the Cosbys, Bill
Right.
and Claire were a team. You're right. I really
Right.
feel like
And it's better now, but we
is.
shot the original movie in 2000. That was 18 years ago we shot the original movie.
Wow.
So, back then it was a mostly like women would be seen telling their husbands what to do, making them look like, kids on camera or servants or something like that. It's like a strong Black woman at the time was pushy, overbearing, not in a unit with their husband. It didn't look like that. And I didn't like that. I didn't think that's what it should be.
Exactly. Now we all know, especially with marriage, they're not always going to be in sync. But the way
Right.
Hollywood and TV depicts it, it's not always going to be that way either. There are married couple who are a team, who can function as a team, who can, argue, but still at the end of the day, still remain a team and have that. So I am
Right.
so glad that was how the end product was, because it made the movie that much better. And I am so glad that he just took your advice, because that to me is just awesome.
Well, what he told me in the end was what was in his mind. He just wanted to see who was going to come in and be in sync with him. He never said what he wanted when he first asked us. He said it later. He said, that's what I had in mind, but I wanted to see who was going to actually be in sync with what I wanted.
That is awesome. That is great. And I'm so glad you got the part, because anybody else, I don't know if they would be able to be in sync with Ice Cube like you were. So thank goodness that is how it ended. That is awesome.
Yes.
Love it. I love it. So Ms. Jaszmin, I am dying to know, are there any future projects that you're involved with that you can dish to Black Talent TV about?
Yeah, there's a few. I've been in front of the camera for so many years, but even before that, even while I was still in the music industry, I was a producer, and I produced shorts and short films and commercials and things like that. And it's something I've done throughout my career, but lately I have been going back in that direction much more. So I just finished producing a film that I was also in called Welcome Matt, with Taj Mori and Dion Cole. I just basically called my friends and said, come do this movie with me. And so they did. And we actually just wrapped on that a few weeks ago. And so it's exciting. It's different than what most people have ever seen with regard to urban movies, because it's got Black people in it, but the subject matter is definitely universal. It's, it's about a kid with mental illness after a trauma. And it's a comedy, believe it or not. And I think that's what makes it more palatable, is because we do deal with this mental illness with humor. And we educate people on it in during the process. But it's a wild ride, and it was great to be behind the scenes as well as on camera for. And I have one in pre-production right now. So another, sort of a dramedy like this last one. And so I'm doing that. I'm also directing, and I'm in a few that I'm not behind the scenes of. One's coming out called Kinky with Don Richards and Robert Richard. Vivica Fox was one of my close friends. So that comes out October 12th in theaters. And so, and there's a Christmas movie coming out this Christmas. So, it's been busy.
Ooh,
been really busy. And hopefully we'll keep going on that path. I like to create. I don't want to just be the person that gets told what to do on camera and that's it. I have to be able to allow or provide jobs for amazing actors. I want to be that person that does that says, you're amazing. No one's giving you a shot. Come and take a chance with me.
I love that. And I cannot wait to see those productions coming out, and I cannot wait to see more of the film that are coming out for you. That's going to be amazing. Definitely been missing you on the big screen, so I cannot wait to see those productions. So I cannot wait to see those movies. I'm definitely going to keep doing them. Oh, absolutely. But for the Black Talent TV audience, where can they go to follow you and your work? Where can they go to keep up with you?
Well, I am on social media. A lot of things go through my website, which is jaszminlewis.com first, and then it goes up on social media, which my Instagram is Jaszmin Lewis, but it's, you know how my name is spelled. It's a little crazy. I think you misspelled my name too. I was like, oh, it's not even offensive. I'm so used to it. But it's actually spelled Jaszminlewis. And that's Instagram, and Twitter is Jaszmin's World. And that's where I kind of release a lot of things that are coming, as well as my website.
All right, Black Talent TV audience, you heard her, and you heard how the correction of the spelling. Make sure you spell it Jaszmin. Please don't pull a mistake like I did. But hey, she says she's used to it.
You were so fine, though. Everyone does it. It's all good. You got people close for your first shot, though. I'll tell you, you got very close.
I was just like, I think I absentmindedly added the E because I was like, Jaszmin, Lewis, and then because all the Jaszmins I have met have always had that E in the end, so I think I just without even thinking, just added the E on ends of it, but make sure you guys edit out the E, and make sure you guys follow her up on Instagram, and make sure you guys keep up with her productions that are coming out.
Yes.
But, when you were talking about, your different roles that are coming out, I'm curious to know, is there a role that you would love to play that you haven't done yet?
There is. It's interesting because I've always been the girl that's on camera with, the makeup and the hair and the high heels and the tight clothes. I've always done that. But, I want to strip all the way down and do something that's much more raw, like a character that takes a journey, maybe with mental illness, maybe with drug addiction, maybe with something that can be explored in a way that comes out positive, like there is a light at the end of the tunnel, but just stripped down and raw and just me, showing this character in its rawest form. So not necessarily a particular movie that's in mind or anything like that, but a character that's just a lot more raw than I've done. I think than I've done.
Oh yeah. I definitely get where you're coming from. Kind of like, for example, Mary J. Blige in Mudbound.
Yes.
Completely stripped down, and still, I totally understand that. Oh, that would be.
Well, you can go all the way back to Lady Sings the Blues with Diana Ross.
Oh.
She was at her rawest in Lady Sings the Blues.
Absolutely.
And her realist, and that's what I want to do, and take a journey that way, because I think movies take us on a journey, and they entertain us at the same time, but they take us on a journey, and you can learn something from them, you can get something from them, you can grow from them, you can see yourself, you can see people that you know in these characters, and I want to present something that is real enough and raw enough that people can get something from it. And I got that with Ladies. It's such a memorable movie with her in that. She was amazing in that. So something more like that.
Yeah.
Where you don't have to get up and put on makeup and comb your hair every single day. I like that anyway.
Yeah, I totally understand. Yeah, because that is highly, that it is very, I would have to agree. It's very kind of rare sighting, especially on the big screen, to see, women raw like that. You're right. Not done up, hair, everything like that, just really stripped down, and so it's I definitely feel like there's definitely needs to be more roles where women can actually do that. And I feel like, TV is definitely providing that little stepping stone of opportunity, but I definitely do feel like Hollywood, especially big screen, definitely needs to focus of getting more complex and more raw roles for women that, doesn't require them to be glam time. I definitely.
Yeah, because no one's glamorous every day, all day. No one is. And we don't get to see it as much as I'd like to see it out there, with people going, wow, this person is relatable, because I don't get up every day. I go through things. There are issues. I don't have a great marriage, or I don't have perfect kids, and my hair is not always done, and I have my lipstick on. It just doesn't work that way.
It
so
doesn't.
I'd like to see a reflection of reality in that.
Absolutely. And that I think that's the key word. With that, we need to see the real reality of it. And you're right. Nobody is glammed up 24/7 all day, every day. No one's gonna.
No, it's exhausting.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking the same thing. That is so exhausting. Nobody's got that.
It is. That's why I asked you, is this on camera or off camera? Because I'm in sweats right now. I doubt that I match. I don't even think I match.
This is all audio, so don't you worry.
Yes, and that's why I said this is great. because I'm like, I don't want to go put on clothes. I wouldn't go do too much anyway, but at least I don't even have to match right now. So that's the women's reality. You're juggling your family, kids, work, all kinds of issues. And so, no, we don't have time to put on heels in the middle of the afternoon to walk to the grocery store. Doesn't work that way.
I so agree with you on that one. I do. That was great. Love it. I do. I love that. She's like, I don't even match right now. There was some pride in that, people. There was absolute pride in that.
Exactly.
I love it. There was absolute pride. I don't even match right now, and that's okay.
And that's all good. I think I have on purple and green, to be honest. Yeah.
Hey,
yeah, that doesn't work.
Okay. This is all audio. You can mismatch all you would like. It is okay. So, Miss Jaszmin,
I love it.
Getting to the last few questions of the interview, what has been your favorite role to date?
Well, I couldn't go on to say the Barbershop roles were not my favorite role. Those movies were amazing to me. They've done amazing things for my career. It was great working with that cast. Which we're all still friends from, and it was a lot of growth in that. But I'd say my favorite character in the movie that I did was a movie called Traci Townsend, where I was one of the first Black females to actually play a title character of a movie, as I played Traci Townsend. She was based on a real person and, troubled, but you see her, go through the darkest portions of her life and actually come out the other side. And you take that trip with her, and it was just shot amazingly beautiful, and it was a complex character to play, and I liked having to dig deep because there were some issues I could relate to with her as far as myself, and some that I couldn't, so I had to dig deep, do research, and I just liked the ride that we got to take with that character and that movie. So I would say that was my favorite.
Oh, absolutely. Traci Townsend. I'm going to make sure to check that one out. And the fact that you're one of the few African-American women to play the lead role in a title movie, that is even more amazing.
I was one of the first.
One of the first?
Yeah, because I think we shot that in I think we shot that in maybe 2009. Maybe 2000, maybe even before that. Could have been 2008. But yeah, it was not a lot of females that were Black playing title characters of movies at the time. I think I was one of the first.
That is incredible.
Yeah, so that is especially in this market,
Absolutely.
I don't mean like the 40s or the 50s, but I mean like now. So and it was a great movie and a great character to play, to transform into every day. So
I highly employ the Black Talent TV audience to go check out Traci Townsend. If you haven't, I definitely employ you guys to watch it. If you have, well, grab your popcorn and watch it again. I definitely will check it out myself. Because it's I really, like I said, that was one of the things I didn't know, that you were one of the first. So I definitely want to check that out, because that is an incredible feat to have. I guess one of the last questions I have for you, Miss Jaszmin, is what advice can you give to young aspiring actors hoping to have your little level of success in Hollywood?
Oh, there's a lot of advice I would give, but if I were to narrow it down to just a few things, I would say learn your craft. Mm-hmm. Don't just walk in the game thinking you can get on screen, because it doesn't work that way. Learn your craft, learn it well, have patience with yourself, forgive yourself, don't judge yourself, because we're judged enough every time we walk in a room to, audition. And persevere, be persistent. Have persistence. Like, don't give up. You didn't get that character. Don't give up. Keep going, because you're not going to book everything that you go in for. You're going to be rejected. You're going to be turned down. You're going to be criticized. Have a thick skin. Have a support team around you to keep lifting you up and building you up, and keep going, because it doesn't happen overnight.
I totally agree. Keep going. That's one of the most important things. And I really hope everyone definitely take away those words. Hone in on your craft. Don't think that you're going to walk in and get it. Make sure you work hard and you really hone in the craft, like she said. So I definitely I definitely agree with that, and I definitely appreciate you.
And do it for the love.
And do it for the love
of acting, not for the money, for the fame, because that may not come. If you love what you do it for free. And we all have.
True. That is so true.
And that's where you actually make strides and actually growing as an actor, is just getting out there and doing everything that you can to build up your resume, to build up your confidence, to build up your body of work. That's how you do it. So do it for the love and not for the fame and money.
I so agree with that. Do it because it's what you love. Which if you're doing what you love, then, like you said, because the money and fame may not come. If you do what you love, then that you will feel fulfilled even if the money and fame do not come. So I so agree with that. Miss Jaszmin, it has been an absolute pleasure talking with you. I really appreciate you giving us your thoughts, your word, and I'm really excited for your upcoming projects that you have coming up. And you've just been awesome to talk to. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. You're a great interviewer. You come with interesting questions. We always get so bored answering the same questions, but you make it fun, exciting, and interesting, and you're great at what you do as well.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I do what I can. I do what I can. Blacktown TV audience, I know you guys are going to want to know more about Jaszmin, so make sure you guys check out her Instagram, make sure you guys check out her website, and make sure you guys check out all her upcoming projects that she has coming up. Again, I really implore you guys to go watch Traci Townsend if you haven't seen it. Definitely going to go check it out myself. We definitely appreciate you, Miss Jaszmin, for coming in and talking with us. It's been a wonderful time. Everyone, of course, my name is Simone Jackson. And for those who would love to interview or come out and advertise with us, make sure you guys check us out at info@blacktalentTV.com. We are always looking forward to hearing from you guys about anything, so make sure you guys do so. But until then, until another great episode of Look Who's Next, Jaszmin, Black Talent TV family, I'm Simone. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye.